you our honored guest. May our minds be open to your words. May our hearts be open to your story. We are ready to perform the mitzvah of Shamor v'Zachor, guarding your words and remembering your story. It is a defining moment for us to be with you.
יהי רצון מלפניך שתשרה שכינתך בינינו. May it be your will for your presence to reside among us.
We thank you for sharing your sacred memories. Oh, oops, is that the wrong one? Or no, okay, with us. We will guard your words through our actions. We will remember your stories with sanctity. May your story bring us strength and link us to the stories of our Jewish past, present, and future. We will remember your story and make it our own and pass it down from generation to generation, lador vador.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו את המלאך דורת'י לבוא ולספר לנו את הזיכרון שלך וגם הזיכרון שלנו. עכשיו אנחנו צריכים לשמור ולזכור לדורות הבאים.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, who brought us the messenger, Dorothy, to come and tell us her story. Your story is now our story. Now our sacred task is to guard and remember your story for future generations.
Hello, I'm Yali, and I will be interviewing you about your life before the war.
Just speak a little bit
Louder
slower.
and slower.
Louder, slower.
Okay.
Thanks, bud.
What is your original name?
My original name is Dvora Kirschenbaum.
What is your birthday?
December 10, 1930.
What was celebrating a birthday in Otwock like?
My father, Zichrono Livracha, was a rabbi, a judge, a shochet, and he wrote the Torah, and was a cantor too for nothing. And
Nothing, sorry.
he didn't get money for it. And I had two brothers, and I am one of the 8 sisters. Can you imagine that we never celebrated a birthday? But we celebrated the bar mitzvahs of the boys at home.
At home. What would that look like?
Pardon?
What would a bar mitzvah look like in the home?
Colored water. My mother baked some cookies and cake. And also, I don't know how to say, garbanzo beans with some pepper and a little salt. That
Okay.
was the bar mitzvah.
Okay, mazel tov.
What were your parents' names?
My father's name was Yehoshua, and my mother's name was Golda.
Okay. So you mentioned that your dad was a rabbi and a cantor, but he didn't get paid. So
He got paid for being a judge, a dayan, and a shochet.
So what was your mother's occupation?
She had 10 children. We needed 2 maids.
What were your neighbors like?
My neighbors were mostly non-Jewish because they lived in a Jewish area that later was the ghetto. But since my father was earning money, he had built a 2-story building with 4 apartments. So when we moved in, and I was born in Chanukah Habayit, the only one, the youngest, the 10th one, and the rest, the 2 were rented, the 2 apartments, and 2 were for us. We had a big one downstairs, and there were 2, and my father even built a sukkah upstairs, so he didn't have to do it with a roof that opens when he puts the schach on. So when it rained, in Poland it rains a lot, so we didn't have to run downstairs with everything. So we closed there was like this to close it and like this to open it.
Do you have any memories before the war?
Hashem gave me a very good memory that I remember big things that happened since I was 2 years old. My grandmother died. Can you imagine they took me to the house to see my grandmother lying on the floor, covered up? and they took me to the funeral. And you know how shaken I was when I saw my grandmother in the tachrichim, lowered down, because Poland did not require that Jews should bury in a box. Here we are required. The Shulchan Aruch says that we obey the laws of the country.
What were your siblings like?
Oh, can you imagine that I had so many teachers? My sisters, my parents, my 2 sets of grandparents.
What order are you and all the children? Are you
The
youngest?
youngest.
You're the youngest?
The 10th one.
What was the age difference between you and them?
Well, the first 2 was only a year and a half, but later on it was 2 years. And I was born after 2.5 years because my mother thought she won't get a baby anymore, but I came.
Growing up, what did it feel like being the youngest in such a big family?
Well, my older sister told me in New York, when I went to visit her, she came from Germany, I was about 20, and she says, I must tell you that we hated you when you got born because we looked for husbands, and you came, mother had a baby, that was a shame, so we used to pinch you. Why were you born? You cried. And mother said, why does Voirele cry? And they said, we don't know, but I want you to know the truth now. But when I was 2, and I was weaned, and I was very smart, so they took me along like a living doll.
What languages did you and your family speak?
My family, my father and mother spoke, and my brothers, only Yiddish. And we had, when we were older, like when I was 7, and my sister was 3.5 years older, we had a rabbi and a woman, Rebbetzin, to teach us prayers and blessings.
What was a normal day with you and your family in Otwock before the war?
Well, we actually said C before a K in Polish. So that's how I recognized if somebody came to the museum and saw my printout and they say, oh, you're from Otwock. I say, oh, you're Polish. But when they say Otwock, like you, then I know they're not Polish.
He's not Polish.
I know that.
Everything else.
Can you describe your school and the people who went there?
Well, I went only to 2nd grade, kindergarten, 1st and 2nd, when the war broke out September 1st, 1939. So when the Nazis bombed us for 2 days to scare us, they marched in on the 3rd day, and right away, the next day, they said, Jewish children are not going to school anymore. So the boys went to a rabbi. There was no school at that time, that year. So they were in a kitchen or in a dining room, on the floor even, you know. They were 2 ages different, so they went to 2 rabbis. But we couldn't go to school, and my older sister taught us. I had one sister that she was in the university, and she couldn't go either.
Did you have any Jewish friends at school or outside of school?
Well, in the school, there were mostly not Orthodox people, you see. There was a Beth Yaakov that my father went there to see if they teach Polish, because he claimed that we live in Poland, so we should learn to speak Polish. The boys not, just the girls. And thanks to that, we survived. Many of us, because our Polish was perfect to this day.
Did people ever treat you differently because you were a Jew before the war?
Definitely. We could not put our Chanukiah in the window because the non-Jewish boys would throw stones. So my father had a way. The bedroom was out to the street, and then there was the dining room, so he put a chair between, and there were only 2, one for the boys, candles, and he had oil.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, I am Tal, and I will be interviewing about your life during the war. All right. What was your first thought when when the men came to your house and told you that you were moving houses?
Can you repeat what he
Do
said?
you want me to speak
Say it
up?
a little bit louder, a little bit slower. Thanks,
All
buddy.
right. What was your first thought when the men came to your house and told you that you had to leave?
Well, there was no men coming to our house. There were placards all over the city that the Jews have 1 week to go to the ghetto, and they told us where. So you can imagine we had 2 apartments, and we couldn't get one in the ghetto, just a room and a kitchen. And by that time, they were 3 married, so they went with their husbands. But we were 8, and all we took is our mattresses from straw. My parents had 2 real ones, single ones, and put it in the small bedroom. And in the kitchen, we could only take a patio table with 2 little, benches. So we did not take double things. We left towels, we left tablecloths, we left linens, we left clothes, we left all the furniture. And who do you think took it?
The people in the.
The Polish people enriched themselves. The Germans took before from us first, radios first, and skins, what do you call it? Skins.
Like pelts?
What?
Leather.
Leather. That's what they took. They needed. And if they came before we went to the ghetto and they saw pictures, paintings on the wall, we didn't have that, or a television or a nice desk, they took it and shipped it to Germany.
All right. Can you describe your experience in the ghetto?
And the ghetto was very, very bad. Children especially, there was no food, and they were dying with their clothes on the streets and the parents sitting by them, and I saw it too. And we had some food that we've had before, but it was used up, and my father came one day from the synagogue. He went every day to pray, and he saw the picture, and can you imagine, out of the remaining children, he took me, the youngest. He was sitting on a bench and took me around, and he said, "Boyrale, you're the only one that can save the family." Can you imagine? I just turned 9. I was beside myself. I said, "Daddy, what do I have to do?" He said, "I'll give you some money, and I'll tell you what to buy, and you'll have to sneak out from the ghetto to the Polish side." Now, I had blue eyes, the darkest of all, the youngest, the color went out, and I had light hair braids, a Polish face, and a perfect Polish. So it was okay, and I snuck out I wonder why, I keep wondering, why did Father pick Tuesday? Is there any special on a Tuesday? I went every Tuesday waiting for him to come home, and I knew he'll give me the money and remind me again what to buy. Well, at first I was young, so I couldn't carry much. He told me to buy a round dark bread and some potatoes and a little bit of salt. That's all I could carry at 9. When I turned 10, I could take a cabbage and potatoes and the round bread and a little salt. Now, I always looked, you see, you have to know that the fences were not watched by the Nazis. The Polish people saw a Jew going over, they would catch him and say, "All Jews have money, give me the money or I'll take you to the Nazis." And that's why I didn't want to be caught. But I saw a block wall about this high, and I looked over it. Nobody was walking. And there was a big grass area, so I knew I'm safe. So I went over that, and nobody ever caught me. And not when I was in stores, and not when I came back or went.
All right. How long were you in the ghetto for?
2.5 years.
All right. Did you have any friends in the ghetto? If so, can you describe them?
Would you believe, as young as I was teaching them songs, Hebrew? I knew a little bit Hebrew. Pardon?
Who were you teaching songs to?
Jewish people,
In
Jewish
the ghetto.
children.
Jewish children in the ghetto.
We even made a show once and charged a penny for entrance. So, you know, I did that 2.5 years with Jewish people.
In your bio, it says that you had to escape the ghetto to get food for your family, and you said you were never caught, but did you ever suspect that someone knew you were Jewish?
I didn't understand what he meant.
When you would sneak it, you have to leave the ghetto at night to get food. Were
Not
you
at
ever-
night.
Oh, in the
It
day.
was curfew time. When the sun went down, you have to stay home. When the sun went up, you could go out. I usually went in the early afternoon when many Polish people have lunch, cooked lunch.
Yeah. Did anybody ever think you were Jewish?
No
No.
one suspected you were
No.
Jewish. No one ever asked.
Nobody ever, not in the stores, ever, or not on the streets.
All right. How much did it cost to buy the food you needed?
Well, don't forget that those days, 1940, 40 up to 42, in the fall, everything was very cheap. The Polish people were very poor. They worked for German people for food, not for money, because they were poor. So let's say a bread costs 10 cents, and some potatoes maybe cost, let's say, maybe 15 cents. You see, it was
Yeah.
by cents and not by dollars.
Yeah. All right. What would happen if you ever ran out of money during the week?
We never went out of money. For some reason, I don't know why everything was so cheap. And we did have money.
All right.
We never ran out of money.
How exactly did you feel when your family told you that you were their only hope?
How did I feel when?
You were told, I think you read in the bio, that
Yeah.
you were your family's only hope.
for them to survive.
Oh, we always hoped the war would end. And when it started, it was fall. And every year we used to say, only to spring. We expected that the Allies would come in the spring because it rains a lot in Poland in the spring and fall, and winter it's snow and very freezing. So we know only springtime. When did the Jews were taken out from Egypt? In the spring.
And in the spring, I was going to let them answer, but thank you.
All right. What was on your mind when your father told you have to escape the ghetto?
Well, I was very proud that he has chosen me to save the family. And later on, when he came one day from the synagogue, and he called the remaining 4 children, because one was in a camp, and was the rabbi that was at 17 ordained, he was a genius. And so he got Toar, rabbi. But the younger one was in camp. He was learning to be a plumber, you see. And he told us that we have to go and save ourselves the best way we know how. Can you imagine that father gave to the 4 children money but not to me? Why do you think he didn't give money to me? And I was never jealous. I knew that I'm smart enough, my father knew that I'm smart enough to survive even without money.
How old are you at this time?
11.
You're 11 at this time. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Very good question.
Thank you. Thank you, friend.
Hi, I'm Tatiana now, and I'm going to continue interviewing you about the war. So, in your bio, it said that you were hiding with your sister Rachel in the outhouse. What were you thinking as you were hiding out?
Well, I'll tell you, I must tell you a little before that. When I went out, nobody wanted me. I was just a day and a night. Nobody wanted, and I knew where my sister is hiding by a sergeant, a Polish policeman. So I went there, knocked on the door. I knew the wife, and I said, do you have by any chance my sister Rachel? And she said, yes, come on in. And I went in, and she took me to the bedroom, and my sister Rachel, 31 at the time, was under her bed. and she told me to go under, and I told her what I went through, and we were shaking. We couldn't cry because we didn't want to make the woman, he was not there, the sergeant. So we were there at daytime, and during that day, the Nazis rounded up all the ghetto. They put them in cattle cars, and we didn't know that, but we know that they are taking the Jews away. And it was supposed to be a resettlement, but it was a killing. They didn't want to tell, we'll take you to kill, we'll take you to resettle. And my father knew it's killings, that's why he sent 4 of us out. But only from the 4, only 2 survived. The youngest and the oldest, that's me. And we were there a whole day, and the woman did not give us any water or food. But we were like this, when you're scared, you don't want to eat or drink, you see? And then you don't know to go to the bathroom either. So at night, the Nazis were very smart, and they knew that some must have been stealing out from the ghetto. And they came with German Shepherd on the Polish side, and and our side was one, but they were all over the Polish side. And they were barking, and when they found somebody under a house or over on a tree or hiding in the garden, they killed them right away. And we heard the German Shepherd and the German raus, raus, that means get out. And the shooting, and the lady was alone, and she was very scared. And she came to the bedroom, she said, hey girls, you must leave. I'm scared, you hear what's going on outside. When they'll come to my house with the German Shepherd, they'll find you and kill you and me too. So we went out, and my sister was the spoke, Rachel, she was 31, and she said to her, we can't go out, it's curfew, and they'll see somebody moving, they'll shoot us and ask questions later. She said, you know, the Germans, the Nazis don't know what an outhouse is. They don't have it in Germany. You go to my outhouse, and when it's curfew over, you can go to another ghetto nearby. So we stayed, she sat on the small outhouse, no window, no cover, and I sat on her, and we were like this, we were scared. And why do you think the German shepherds didn't come to find us? This is a clue.
Thanks, Sam.
Because it was smelling all around the outhouse. So we were safe. And in the morning, they did all the findings and killings, and we went to another ghetto. We took the train, and we had no problem. She looked actually more Polish than I did. She had a nose, and she had plenty bluer eyes and blonde short hair, and I had, so they didn't recognize us. It was not a far away. Let's say it was 45 minutes.
By train.
By train, stopping and going, stopping and going. We went to Pursov, it's a ghetto, and there was no walls, and there were some from our city that knew us, because we were kind of famous. You know, my father was famous, and it was she Scheuches Tochter, you know. So they all knew us, but not me, because I was the smallest, but my sister knew them. And we were there, and the people, strange people, took us in with our clothes. We had no extra bundle. We sat against the wall, sleeping on the floor, no pillow, no blanket, but one thing was good. They gave us food once a day. What did they have? Some bread, some potato soup with cabbage. So this was once a day. And we went out, so we were there for 2 weeks like that. And after 2 weeks, we hear the Nazis are coming tomorrow to resettle us. We knew it's to die, kill us. So there was no fences and no Germans. There was just a little stream. So my sister said, you know what, let's jump over the stream on the Polish side, and we'll try to save ourselves. So we did that, and we came to the first farmer. And my sister knocked on the door, and she says, we are 2 Jewish sisters. Would you please save us? And he says, yeah, come to my barn. So we went to his barn with horses and pigs and chickens. You know how it was, smelling dirty. But he made a ledge out from the wall, and he had the feet of the animals on it and a ladder. So he said, go up on the ladder and go to the end. Nobody should see you, because he had workers coming in the morning. And we were there. Do you think for 2 days and 2 nights he gave us anything to eat or drink? We were not hungry.
Were you not scared to introduce yourself as two Jewish sisters?
But I did not. My sister did it.
Ah.
She was the spokeswoman. I didn't have
You
anything.
don't think there was any fear on her part to say we're two Jewish sisters?
No, she tried, because there were some Polish people that really risked their lives for Jewish people, for money, but we didn't have that kind of money to give. So we were there 2 days and 2 nights, and he comes the third morning after curfew on the ladder. Hey girls, you must leave. I'm scared to keep you any longer. So what do? We went down, and we took off the straws, what we had, and we went out, and I started to cry, not with tears. So where are we going now? And she says, well, I'll tell you what, we will go to the camp that my brother was. My sister was a cook with another Jewish woman, but there were 400 men making roads in the village, so that they were camping. So we took the train, and we couldn't walk there, it was too far. We took the train, and on the train started. A Polish woman says to my sister, she looked more Jewish, more Polish, and I did look more Jewish with her. And she says, what are you doing with that Jewish kid? You probably get a lot of money to save her. So my sister said quietly, get up, in Polish. And we went out to the old train, you know, the chuk that has a little thing to go down when they stopped. And we stood there until the next stop. And we went down, nobody came up. And the train went away, and Rachel said to me, you know, we have to separate because they recognize you as Jewish, but me as Polish, so we both will die. So I said, so where am I going if we separate? She said, we're going to walk to the camp. So it took us a whole day to not walk, march.
You're how old at this time?
Pardon?
You're how old at this time?
11.
You're still 11. Okay.
Yeah. And we walked very fast. The tracks, we knew that the tracks go straight where we need to go. So we came there during, it was going to be curfew. There were no Germans watching the camp because they knew they were dirty, lice and bedbugs, and who would sickness, you know. So they knew nobody is going to take them in. So we opened the gate, and my sister knew to find the kitchen. And can you imagine 2 people working potatoes and cabbage for 400 people? They worked very late, so they found we found our sister, and my sister said, I cannot go with Dvoirala anymore. You have to keep her because they recognize her as Jewish and me as Polish, and both will die. So I'll leave in the morning. And I stayed with my brother at the wall on the 3rd tier of the bunk bed to sleep. You know, it's a small bunk bed. And I slept with my brother on straw. There was no pillow, just a blanket. That's what they had over there, and bed bugs. And I already had lice in my head because I had no extra clothes, and I had no washing. There was no showers, no washing. So she left, and I don't know, she didn't say goodbye to me, and we didn't know where she went, but she survived. And then I stayed there 2 weeks, and you know, a couple is a Jewish man put as by the Germans to watch the people. So when they came, they were very angry. They pushed them and they kicked them to show the Nazis that they are mean. I stayed on when they came to watch them after 2 weeks. And the couple man did not say anything because of my sister and brother-in-law, and my brother. So after 2 weeks they came with German shepherds, and they took them out to count 10 by 10, Nobody ran away. The two women were in the kitchen, and they came to the barracks with German shepherds. How many of you believe in angels? Because I think that angels really saved me many times when I was in danger. Because the German shepherd came to the site where I was near the wall. He went on the second tier, looked up, and didn't bark. Now, who do you think closed his mouth? Must have been an angel. And one Nazi said to the other, "The dog didn't bark, so there is nobody there. Let's go."
Wow.
And I understood it from Yiddish. Wow. I was saved. But that man that was over the couple man, couple means a head. In Latin, I know Latin, so I know it's Italian too.
Well, then I know. I wasn't going to correct you.
Yeah, so he came to me, he knew that I'm there. He said, "Hey, kiddo." I never had a name in any place, kiddo. "Hey, kiddo, you must leave, because next time they'll come with German shepherds, with different ones maybe, and he'll bark and they'll kill you and me for allowing you to be here." So I went out, and nobody wanted to keep me. But my sister said, before I left, she said, "You know, it looks like the Nazis want to take us, to kill us. We did the roads and we finished and they don't need us anymore." So I want you to know that there is a farmer that made an extra cellar. And she gave me the address, and I put it in my brain, in my computer. I call it a computer. And if you don't have where to be, come to us. I had no money, you see, and they knew it. She had no money to give me. She didn't, or maybe she did, but she didn't. So I went out, and the Polish people kept me a night out, a day out, no food. Sometimes I had 4 days with nothing. Yeah, I wasn't even hungry because I was scared. And then the fourth week, I was on top of the house. What is there? An attic. And I heard the Nazis near the forest shouting with German shepherd and killing. So I knew that the camp was taken. And the lady that kept me up there, she was very old, and she came up at night, and it was dark. And I was crying, I want you to know, because I knew that I didn't know if my family escaped in time. So I was crying, and she came, "Hey, kiddo." So I'm a kiddo again. "You must leave, because you hear what's going on outside." So I had to go down, and I thought, I am in a cellar. I never was in an attic. So I crawled in the darkness to the hole, and I fell down. Who do you think helped me not to have a broken hand, a leg, or nose?
An angel.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I was hurt, you see, but no broken. I was hurt all over. And the woman said, "You go to my corn patch, and I'll bring you some food tomorrow." So I went to, near the house was a corn patch. I went to the middle. I was there half a night and half a day, never hungry, and I wasn't that cold because I had my sister's, was sleeves to here and down to the knuckles, so I was warm. And then comes out from the forest a Polish guy with a German shepherd. And he goes to the village someplace, and the German shepherd, when he came parallel to me, started barking and pulled him to me. He saw me sitting down. "You are Jewish," I said. My heart was like that. I said, "I am Polish." "Don't tell me you are Polish, because a Polish child won't be here at daytime." And I was there nighttime too, he didn't know. And he pulled me up, and that German shepherd with the teeth was barking, because he waited for the man to tell to bite me, but he didn't. So he was, I'm scared from a German shepherd to this day. And he pulled me up and he said, "All Jews have money. Give me the money or I'll take you to the Nazis." I said, "I am not Jewish, I am Polish, and I have no money," because they were all poor that time. Sure. So he pulled me out from the corn patch, and I prayed to my father. I said, "Daddy, You send me out to save myself, but now I'm going to die. I have no way to escape because of the German Shepherd. So he pulled me. That old woman came out with something to for me a sandwich. And she met us, and she knew him because he was Polish, a Catholic, and she said to him, to his nose, like that, "You call yourself a good Catholic? I see you in church every Sunday. Leave that child alone." She didn't say Jewish child, see? She knew I'm Jewish, I told her. And he was ashamed of her. He was a young guy, and he left me. And she said to me, "Here, you have to leave because he knows you're here. He'll come again and the German Shepherd will find you." So where am I going? Not with tears, like that. She says, "To the forest." And let me tell you, in the forest, the angels guided me. Had I gone to the right, I wouldn't be here. Had I gone to the middle, I wouldn't be here. Something pulled me to the left. And I stayed there a whole night when I couldn't walk anymore. I sat down against the tree, and what did I do? I prayed to my father. The same thing, "Daddy, you send me out, but nobody wants me. I'm going to die." But I tell you, every time I prayed to my father, there was a miracle. Because I got up, and I went to the edge of the forest, and I heard noises. That means that the farmers were coming with their horses and buggies to sell their stuff to the city. I didn't know can you imagine I open up, I get out from the forest, it's my city. And there is a hut from my Polish maid. My Polish maid kept me 2 weeks and shooed me out again. So what's your next question? I was saved again. See, that's what
Now,
I mean.
you were saved again, and now you've been saved, Tati.
Well, was she happy to see you, your former maid?
Who?
Was your former maid happy to see
The
you?
former maid, I told her, I knew her name. I said, "Pani Pavlova, I have nowhere to be. Could you please keep me?" She said, "Yes," but her 2 children that I knew, they knew me. And she did this to each one. "I will kill you if you'll tell anybody that the Dorka is here." That was my Polish name.
Oh.
And they didn't for 2 weeks. If somebody knocked at the door, there were no cupboards. I had to go under the bed. And she had straw mattresses, and I had lice, and bed bugs fell on me from hers. I couldn't even scratch. But I was there one day, the longest, and she told me after 2 weeks to come out. "Dorka, you can come out now, but you have to leave because I'm scared." So when they say I'm scared, I had no money to give her. I don't know how she lived because Polish people usually didn't take Polish people to clean and wash clothes.
Wow.
So I don't know how she lived. But she gave me food once a day. What did she give me? A dark dry bread she cooked the potatoes with cabbage. And that's what I ate once a day.
Oh.
So that was good. I didn't complain. But I went out and I stayed at the door. And I didn't remember what my sister said to me, but that if she will save, they will come out to that farmer. So I prayed to my father again, and then my computer opened, and I remembered what my sister said. So I walked back to the village. I didn't walk. What did I do? It's a long way. I marched. And I come to the village, it was daytime, and I was afraid somebody should see me. I didn't want to give away the hiding place, and I wasn't sure that she's there, that they are there. So I went to her garden under a rhubarb patch. I don't know if you know, we had rhubarb at home in the garden. It's a big leaf, and when it's time, the rhubarb comes out. So I knew that, and I went under it, and I waited till it got dark. And I knocked on the door, and the lady answered. I didn't know her, but I knew her name. I said, "Pani also, do you happen to have my brother-in-law?" She knew my brother-in-law. He had a lumber yard. And my sister and brother. She said, "Yes, I do." Can you imagine I found heaven again?
Wow.
She took me down to the cellar, and in the corner there was a rubrical, you know. She made a square, and there were boards on top with things. She took them off. She says, go down, and there is another cellar. So I came to the other dark cellar. This much was air only. We couldn't talk loud. We had to whisper. And my brother-in-law and brother did not talk, but my sister whispered. And she said, you see, we should take care of you. You're the youngest. But look how we live. She doesn't cook for us. All we eat is stale bread with sauerkraut.
Wow.
And, but I'll tell you, you have a better chance to be a Polish maid in Warsaw. We'll give you some money, and you go to the church to our friend, Notwotsk, and she'll give you a birth certificate. So I stayed there overnight, and she gave me a sandwich with the stale thin bread and cabbage inside. I took it out, and some money. She gave me $2.50. It would be now up to $25, or maybe $250. It was very cheap. So I marched to the city through the tracks because I didn't want to spend money on the car. If I walk there, I can walk back. And I went to the near the church was a house where she took who married, who died, and who was born. There was no divorces. So I knocked on the door. She knew me, and she came out. She said, "What are you doing here?" Oh boy, she's not friendly. I said, "Lady Maliszewska, please give me a Polish birth certificate so I can go to Warsaw, be a maid." And she said, "No, I'm not giving it to you." I stood there like an idiot. I can't go back to my sister. She won't give it to me. I didn't know what to do. I stood like that. And she was sorry for me. She told me to go one stop over Warsaw. It was a small town. Go to the cemetery, find a baby that died, and know what about your age. Take the names, what's written, and go there to the church like you came to me. She'll give it to you. I had no choice, and I did that. So this time I had to spend money on the train because I couldn't walk that far. And it was a schlepp train. You know what a schlepp train means? There was a fast train from our city to Warsaw for 15 minutes. Electric, didn't stop. But I couldn't do it. I had one more stop to go. So I took the schlepp train. It stopped at everyone. And I finally came, and I didn't know where the cemetery is. I asked people, and they told me. And I found one baby that lived only 3 days, and her name was Zofia Leszczyńska. She was the 10th of March, and I was the 10th of December. She was a little older. I figured I'm not looking anymore, and I remembered what's written on the stone, and I asked people where the church is because I didn't see a cross. Usually you can see, I didn't. So they told me where to go. There was one only there in the city. And I went there, knocked on the door, and I was smart enough not to say it's for me. I said to them, my friends sent me to get this birth certificate, Zofia Leszczyńska, and I told them the birth. I don't remember, March 10, 1931, and I don't remember the parent's name. It's not important for me, so I let it out from my computer. And she said, so wait here. And I waited a few minutes. I had no watch. And she came out. She says, 25 cents, please. See? You know, if you were to get a false one, how much you would pay? So I got it. And once I got it, I'm Zofia Leszczyńska. I kept saying to myself, Zofia Leszczyńska. And I took the train back one stop, and I found a paper I bought for 5 cents. The first one that wanted the mother's helper, I went. And she opened the door, and I told her with the paper in the hand, I said, you gave an ad for being a mother's helper, here I am. She took one step back and she said, you're only a child, you won't be able to do all the work. I said, keep me a month and I won't charge you any money. I was there 2 weeks, not going out, looking after the two children when they came, cleaning and pressing and doing whatever needed. After 2 weeks, I had 8 or 7 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, she came back early. She said, Sophia, where are you? I was in her bedroom cleaning a window. I came to the kitchen and she said, are you Jewish? I said, I am Polish. I'll show you. I have my birth certificate in the pocket. That was the only one I showed it to. And she was satisfied, but I wasn't. So I finished the day, and the night I didn't. I had the one that opens to sleep. I didn't even open it. I wanted to be a good girl and finish all the ironing and hand washing and putting buttons on, fixing a zipper. And when I heard the kids are up and I had to cook a cereal on water, not on milk. You see, you gave a milk. If they wanted, they put it on from a glass. And I gave them to eat, and they gave them lunch, and then the couple. And when they went out, I still wanted to be a good girl. They shouldn't say the Jews, you see. So I cleaned the apartment, I made the beds and washed the dishes, and just walked out and bought another newspaper for 5 cents. And that, the first one again, and she happened to be a doctor. She said the same thing as the first one, but I told her that I will do it without money. She never paid me. She was a doctor and he was writing in papers, what do you call, journalist.
Yeah. Dorothy, I don't want to interrupt you. It's an amazing story. I just want to make sure our students have a chance to ask all the questions.
Okay, I'm finished.
All right, I'm sorry.
That's I was going to finish on the second plate.
Okay, thank you.
Did you like your second job?
Well, I was more experienced than the first job, and I still think that the angel helped me to do this, because we had 2 maids, and I was the youngest, and I never did anything, only polished my shoes, that's all. So the maids did that.
Wow.
But I tell you, the second job I knew better. It was a big apartment, and I stayed there for 2 years until the Polish uprising.
Wow.
In the fall of 1944, there was a river called Vistula, a big one. The Russians were fighting the Germans, and they begged the Polish underground not to start the fight until they finished with the Nazis. Then they get it from both sides. But the Polish people did not listen, and they started before, and the Russians, or the Soviets, were laughing. You wanted to save Warsaw, the capital, yourself? Go ahead. And they couldn't. So I was 63 days. There was no food, no water, no electricity, and no gas, and it was very, very bad. Hitler gave an order to take all the people out from Warsaw and burn the city. So they took us out in the middle of the night, and all of them go get lost, you see. Many were sick. I was sick too. I was coughing. It was cold in fall, and they burned the city 80%. And I was saved again because she was a doctor, and when she saw a sign, hospital, she went there, and she said that she's a doctor from Warsaw, and Polish people were not afraid to serve Polish people.
Thank you.
Where did you go after this?
After this, they helped us in the clothes. We slept against the wall in the prosdor, in the hallway. And they gave us a pillow each and a blanket, and they cooked up a soup. What kind of soup?
Cabbage and potato?
And a stale piece of bread.
Stale black bread.
Yeah. And they gave us that, and we ate, and we slept a few hours. And then in the morning, the new crew came in, and they knew that we're there. So they cooked up a cereal and gave us a glass of milk and a piece of stale bread, dark bread. And after we finished, came the head nurse, and she gave the doctor money. She said, you go to Krakow, and in Krakow there on the farmers market, there are many places with tables to help you. So we did that. And we went to Krakow. It took a long time. From Warsaw to Krakow is a long time. I was coughing, and she needed a job with 2 children and father-in-law. So I was coughing, and the first table was a doctor and a nurse. You know, the nurses those days were Catholics with those habitats. And the doctor, of course, said that. I said in Polish, I said, I am coughing, could you please help me? And he took the stethoscope and told me to breathe. And he said, kiddo, you have bronchitis. I said, can you help me? He said, yes, you'll have to come every week to get an injection of gamma globulin. They do it to this day, you know, for immunity. So I went back after the injection, and I had to go every week. So I go there, and I found a doctor. Oh, we have in the village a place. They'll give us a room and food, and I'll be a doctor. I said, doctor, I can't go with you because I have to come back. I didn't know how will I come back. I had no money. So she said, okay. We kissed each other, we said goodbye to the kids, and I go back, and what do I do now? I need a job. I had 5 pennies. What did I buy? A newspaper. And I got a professor that needed for his 10-year-old and mother's helper, so I went there. And I stayed there for quite a few months. Then the Russians came. So I was saved by the Russians at the end of January 1945. And I still was 6 months a Polish helper because I didn't know where to go. I had no money to go back to Warsaw. So I stayed there. Yeah, my sister found me later.
Thank you. That's it.
Pardon?
Take the mic off. We have one more student to come up and ask you some
Okay.
questions. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you, Tati.
Thank you.
Do you know, from the professor, I changed jobs. And I went to another one. She was a very mean woman.
Really?
Very mean. I didn't like her. She had a big, we called it the White House because they had 2 pharmacies that the Nazis didn't take away from them.
This is in Krakow?
Yeah. And I worked very hard, but this computer thought, what am I going to do?
Sure.
She's mean. So I wrote to my building, to one tenant that I knew, I played with her son, that I am alive, I'm Sofia Leszczyńska, but I'm really Dvora Kirschenbaum. And if anybody is alive, please tell them. And sure enough, my sister came to get me after 6 months.
Amazing.
Being liberated.
Amazing.
Hi, I'm Rena, and I'll be interviewing you.
Slow and loud, please. Slow and
Okay,
loud.
sorry. Hi, I'm Rena. I'll be interviewing you about after the war. You said that you felt angels were following you through this journey. Why do you think the
understand.
angels? Okay.
Well, she's commenting on the fact that you believe that you had angels with you the
Yes.
whole time. So what was the question?
Why do you think the angels chose you?
Because I believed my father was like a God to me. Who did I pray to, God or to my father all the time?
To the rabbi, guys. Come on. There you go.
And he always helped me. But this time I did what I wanted because my father always taught us children that God helps those that help yourself. So I had to do something. So I wrote a letter to the building and I forgot about it. So I was 6 months more a maid, a Polish maid, even after liberation, because I was afraid to tell the Russian. I didn't know how they would take it, that I'm a Jew. So that's it. I had food. You see, she was mean to me, but I was working very hard. And that's it. I waited for my sister or somebody that's alive. I didn't know who. Yeah.
How did you feel when you figured out you were being liberated?
How did I feel when?
You figured out you were being liberated.
I felt good, but I didn't know what to do because I still had to be a maid. I had no money to go back to Warsaw. So I was hoping. I never lost hope, I want you to know. And I didn't pray this time to my father because I was liberated. But I waited for someone to come 6 months it took. Somebody knocks on the door. I opened the door. I couldn't catch my sister, the one that was hidden in the cellar, with a Polish friend that I knew. I couldn't breathe. I was stunned. And she said, "Don't just stand there, go get your stuff, we're going home." So I turned around to that mean one, and I didn't know what to tell her. And she yelled again at the doorstep, "Don't just stand there, just take your, what do you have?" Well, I had lots of stuff. "Get your stuff, let's go home." And I told the lady, I said, "This is my sister," not saying Jewish. "This is our friend," not saying Polish. I'm supposed to be Polish, you see. And she said to me, when I told her that I'm leaving right now, I'm just taking my stuff. And she said to me, "Like this can only do the race from the East." Do you know that I was thinking many months later, what do you mean? What did she mean? I didn't steal anything like this. I came in. My computer told me after months, I didn't give her notice. She was left in a big white house without help.
What age were you when the war ended?
I was 14 and a half.
After the war, did you ever visit your old home?
Well, my sister took us to Otwock, but we never went to see the building because it was too painful to go. She rented an apartment, 1 bedroom, and I slept in the living room on a couch. And she said to me, you know, she was academic, you see, with languages, and she took also singing lessons on piano. And she said, "You have to go to school when it starts." That was August, late August, September 1st starts school in Poland. I said, "I'm not going to school, I'm starting to cry. There are only Polish people, they hate us." And she was yelling at me. "You were not a child since 8 years young, and now you are 14 and a half. You go to learn. You must go to school." So I listened to her, and I went to school, and the Polish children did not study, and why did? So when the teacher asked the question, that's how we did. We couldn't do that. I was always answering. A few weeks, they didn't answer. And then one day I said, "I'm sitting on my hands, I'm not answering, because they'll hate me even more for that." So the teacher did me a misfavor, in a way a favor. And nobody answered, and she knew I knew. I didn't put the hand up. She said, "Dorka," that was my Polish name, "do you know the answer?" I said, "Yes, I do." And I told her. I went out for research that time, and that was doomsday, because they circled me all around, only Jewish person. And one boy comes up to me, almost touching my nose, "Parshiva Żydowa." How many know Polish? No. It means scabby Jews, that I have sores. And this was September, it's cold in Poland. Only my hands were looking and my face. Everything was covered. And I was very upset on the instant that after the war they should still say it, and he was close. I moved back and I hit him in the nose, and I hit him with this one. I broke his nose, he was bleeding, and I broke my finger.
Sorry to
And
hear
the
that.
teacher took me to the principal. "Why did I break his nose?" I said, "I didn't even complain about my finger, it didn't bleed." I said, "Because you called me Parshiva Żydowa, and I'm not. And I'm proud to be a Jew." He said, "Go home." Can you imagine? I went home for 20 minutes crying, really crying. And I went to my sister, I said, "Even when you drag me by my braids, I am not going to school anymore." And she knew I meant it. And I showed her. So I wanted to be a pianist. And now the 4th finger is the weakest of all. So I have double weakness. I couldn't be. So we left Poland to Germany, of all places, to the American zone. And the American soldiers took real good care of us that ran away from Poland because of anti-Semitism. And they had money and food and clothes because the Nazis closed all their stores. And we had no money anyways to buy it. So they gave us all that, and they gave us a place to live. They threw out from a section the German workers, and they told them, you can only take your personal stuff, but the furniture you must leave. So they put it in a house of 3 bedrooms with a living room, dining room, kitchen. They put in 3 families up in each room, and we got the living room. And so they put 2 cots in. So my sister slept the night with her husband and I, and they made a beautiful school for us. There were Jewish teachers. There was a rabbi with 1 Bible. We didn't have any. We hardly had pencils or things to write in, but they supplied us as much as they could. They were very good, the soldiers. Everybody was very nice to us. So I stayed there 3.5 years, but since the Germans started lifting their head up, because if you remember the Nuremberg trial, they were very lenient with them. And the Germans were starting to pick up their heads, and they hated us. So I said to my sister, you're not registered anywhere. I can't be anymore. When I finished, it wasn't high school, it was gymnasium in Europe. 2 years college, it is gymnasium. I went to Canada. They took 70 people from the area, and they took us to Canada, and I was 17. And then in Canada, they said they're going to help us, but not going to university. They said, you must go to work. I became a maid again in a Jewish family, and I cried at night. I had such eyes at night. And the Jewish lady saw it after 3 weeks or maybe more. And she said, you know, there is a street in Toronto called Kolegigas, College Street. The new people couldn't know English. So college in Polish is kolege. Kolege means friend. So you go there and maybe you'll see some of your friends. And I saw my husband that I knew from Germany because he came a year or so earlier because he had an aunt and 5 cousins. They made papers for him. And he saw me with swollen, why are you crying, Dorothy? I said, because they made me a maid again. He says, you know, when you turn 18, you don't need them anymore. We can get married. So that's what I did. I turned 18 and it took a few months and I got married. So I'm going to be married in March, 68 years to the same guy. I have 2 children, a daughter in New York and a son in Colorado, married and children.
Did you ever feel ashamed to be a part of the Holocaust?
Never. The only thing that we did, we never talked about it because even the Jewish people were not interested. My husband, we rented a room and a kitchen upstairs and the people lived downstairs. And he somehow told them that he's a Holocaust survivor and he went through an awful lot in camps. I didn't, I had ghettos. And she said, yeah, we suffered too. We couldn't get any meat, only chicken and not nylon. So how could we speak to people like that?
Suffering's relative, huh?
How does it feel to be here right now?
Well, when we came to the United States, it was very good and we felt very good. I was a teacher in Canada, so I was a teacher here, and I got a job in Emek Hebrew Academy. But my daughter, the Emek that time had only 3 grades. My son went into it because in Canada they went to a Hebrew school. But here there was no 5th grade, so she went to public school. But in the University of Judaism, they were teaching Hebrew, so my daughter went after public school over there. So she learned Hebrew. too, and we were very happy. But let me tell you something, that the latest few years, it's not the same United States anymore, unfortunately.
What lesson would you pass down to future generations?
What was the end?
What lesson do you
This-
have for kids
Yeah.
today?
The lesson I have, study, love your parents, be always hopeful. God will help you if you help yourself, and never lose hope, and never be pessimistic. This is always tomorrow will be better. When I had at home or during Holocaust a bad day, tomorrow will be better, or tomorrow night will be better. So you never lose hope, and God will help you. That's what I always tell my children. And one request I always had to the children, please do not use the word hate. I don't like, that's okay.
That's fine.
I don't like this, I don't like her, I don't like him. Why hate?
Yeah.
You see, I hate peanut butter. I like peanut butter. Why should you say hate?
Great.
Well, thank you very much.
Oh, that's all?
All right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was easy.
That was an easy one. Dorothy, I'm going to grab a Torah scroll from this ark, and I'm going to invite up the whole team, Yali, Paul, and Tati, and Rena. And Dorothy, this Torah scroll, I believe you know this.
Shehecheyanu?
Well, this Torah scroll is also a survivor of the Shoah.
Oh, really?
This is a Czechoslovakian Torah scroll. I'm
Oh.
going to bring it out. I'm going to put this in your arms. I'm going to stand with you. You can stay seated if you like.
Oh,
Whatever's easiest for you.
well, I can send that.
Okay. Don't get your cane, your third arm.
No, that's okay.
I can hold it with you.
Oh, wait,
So
maybe I
our
should.
students have one last blessing they want to wish for you. I'll hold this with you.
We thank you so much for honoring us with your presence here today. You have given us your words, your heart, and your soul. Your story is now our story.
Now it is our turn to do what Jews have done for centuries. It is now up to us to tell our story to our children so that they might keep it alive for generations to come.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to fulfill this amazing mitzvah. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו, וציוונו להגיד לבנינו את סיפורנו.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who made us holy with mitzvot and commanded us to tell our children our story.
Thank you so much.
Not Shehecheyanu?
You want to sing Shet? We can sing.
Yeah.
All right. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Amen. Thank you, Dorothy.
I thank you very much.